everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching today. Today I am going to be showing you how to make this. This is called a split panel card, and the reason it's called a split panel card is because you cut a section of the card away and then you use a whole different panel to connect the top and the bottom together, and as you can see it makes a really sweet little card. Now this is brilliant for if, like me, you're not very good at finishing off your cards and putting a sentiment inside. I generally am quite good at putting sentiments on the outside of the card, but when it comes to doing the inside, I'm pretty poor. It was a New Year's resolution and it has been going quite well up until now to make sure I finish off my cards, but I've had a bit of a wobble lately. So this is great because the sentiment actually does the outside and inside, as you can see. And this card today will fit in a 6x6 envelope, although I have done smaller sizes in the past. The one we're going to do today is 6x6. So what I'm going to be using for today's video, I'm going to be using the It's Snome Time collection from Craft Consortium and Helz Cuppleditch. I have used these two stamps here for the topper. She is really cute. She's carrying a basket of toadstools, and then there's like a little present with the bird sitting on the top, and again some toadstools around it. And then I'm also using the 12x12 paper pad for this card. I really love these papers. I just think they're absolutely stunning. This is the one I'm going to be using for the mats and layers today, but these are just gorgeous papers. I absolutely love them. So I'm using this. I'm also going to incorporate for the sentiment from an old, actually, funny enough, Helz Cuppleditch collection. I'm going to be using part of the Winter Wonderland collection because if it fits, I want to use the With Love at Christmas for the inside. And I think I got this off of Every Craft's a Pound fairly recently, so you might still be able to get this, but I really think these are so cute. I just love them. And I will more than likely be using these little bows from Hobbycraft to embellish, as well as this really sweet little ribbon. This is Christmas ribbon. I actually got this in Michael's in New York a couple of years ago, so you might need to find something a bit different, but you can use anything you like really. And I'm kind of toying with the idea of using these, but we'll see how it goes. These were up at Every Crafts a Pound. And they're quite sparkly, although I don't know if that's going to show up too well on camera. And they're all different sizes. So you've got some small ones, some big ones, some medium ones. So I will see how I feel about those as we go on. And the card stock I'm using today for the base is by Quilando from Lidl. So let's get started. So first of all, you need to grab some cardstock. I've cut this down. This measures 12 by 6, and if we put it on the 12-inch side, we're going to score at 6, because that is going to be our card base. So you can then straight away just fold that over and burnish it. Now unfortunately I don't have a paper trimmer that you see in a lot of the tutorials, so I'm going to be using my like guillotine / trimmer thing. So I always score before I cut. So I'm going to open this back up and I'm going to score at 2 inches, because I am now going to cut that off completely. So just grab my trimmer Obviously if you've got one of the proper ones, you'll be able to just cut it at the 2 inches, but I haven't got one of those. Trying not to get my head in the video, but I need to line this up right. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off completely. That's 2 inches. So that's going to be the bottom bit. Okay. Okay, so I've put that to one side, and that's going to be my bottom panel. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it up completely. I'm going to move it up to the 12-inch marker, and then I'm going to score with the original folded and burnished line on the 8-inch mark. I'm going to score at 10, so that I've got another 2-inch panel at the top. So I'm going to score at 10, and I'm now going to cut that one as well. So cut that one down. And I'll put that to one side. So now that's the top of the card, and the 2-inch one that we cut off from the bottom of the card is going to go there. Can't see it too good at the moment. And then we're going to use a topper here to bring the whole thing together. Now the mats that you're going to need are for the patterned paper. These are going to go on the top and the bottom like so, and this is 1 3/4 by 5 3/4. So you want just a small border all around the edges, and if you're using directional paper, just make sure that you cut it, you check before you cut it so that it is going in the right direction. But I'm using the snowflakes, and that's not really directional, that can go any way up, so that's fine. So that's going to be the mats and layers for our top and bottom panel. And then for the topper in the middle, so this is going to be, let's just pop this to one side a second. This is going to be the bit that brings it all together. So this green piece here measures 4.5 by 3.5, and then my topper sits in the middle. I'm just going to check those measurements quickly. Just grab my scoreboard in. Yeah, so the green one is 4.5 by 3.5, because the topper measures 4 by 3.25. So that's going to sit nicely in the middle. Okay, so let's start putting this together. So I'm just going to grab some wet glue quickly. Okay, so I'm going to glue the mats onto the base cardstock first of all. So just make sure you get your glue all the way up to the edges, because we're just going to stick this straight on. Okay, so we do this one first. This is the bottom panel. So because it's wet glue, we've got a little bit of wiggle room. We just want to make sure that this border around is fairly equal and as close as we can get to being equal all the way around. So I'm happy with that. Just put a little jot more under there, I think. I must have missed a little bit. There we go. Right, let's leave that to dry there. Now I'm going to do the same on this one. So this is the top of my card. And grab my panel. Okay, so it's fairly equal border again. So I'm happy with that. So they are going to sit like so. Now before we go any further, I actually want to do the inside of the card now. So for the inside of the card, we need a matted layer, which is this one. This is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So that's going to sit there. And then we want a plain piece of cardstock or paper, whatever you want to use, and that's going to be 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. Now on the original one I did have some silver mirror card as a third mat, and I had used that only on the inside, I think. But all I do whenever I do mats and layers, I take 1/4 inch off each time I layer. So it would have been 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, then 5 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then it'll go down to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So you can do as many mats and layers as you want, but this time I'm just doing the 2. So I'm going to stick these down now before we go any further. So again, I'm just going to make sure I get the glue all the way to the edges. I'm never afraid to use too much glue. I think this cardstock that I'm using with the pattern on it, the Craft Consortium one, it's really good quality paper. It's a really good GSM. It's 200 GSM, so it doesn't crinkle easily, whereas some of the thinner ones would crinkle with too much glue, but it holds up really well, which is good because I do like to use a lot of glue just to make sure things stick. There's nothing worse than giving something and then having it fall apart. So that's stuck that bit down. So now I'm just gonna do the last layer. I'm using just normal A4 paper for the inside. I do use cardstock sometimes, but I just felt for this one A4 paper would be fine. Depends what I'm doing really and what I'm writing on. So I want a nice even border again, so you can still see the snowflakes underneath. Just move that over a little bit. Maybe go up a tad. There, happy with that. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. So now I'm going to do my topper. But before I stick the topper onto the cardstock, what I want to do is just embellish something up here. What I did with the topper was I stamped it and coloured it in with alcohol markers. This is actually stamping board that I got from Hobbycraft. So I've coloured it with alcohol markers, and then I've used 2 different distress inks, and I use them as a watercolour to do the background, just to give it a bit of colour. I think that was pumice stone, and that was, is it faded paper or old paper or something? But I think it looks quite effective and quite nice. But I just think there's too much open space here, so I'm going to use the ribbon and the bow, and I'm just going to put across here just a little bit of embellishment. So I'm going to grab some double-sided tape, and just on the back I'm just going to put a layer of tape there, and it's going to come up here somewhere, so I'm going to put double-sided tape there just to catch the ribbon for me. So let's see where I want this to go. I just want one strip really, maybe across there and fold it around. So let's take the release papers off. Yeah, that will do. Then some scissors. Okay, so I like that, but now I'm gonna stick a bow on it just to hold it down, and again just as a little bit of extra interest. So I really like these bows. I think they're really cute, and I really like the little pearl in the middle, and they're really Christmassy. So I'm gonna stick that on about there. I just want to try and get a tiny bit of double-sided tape underneath that ribbon to hold it down a little bit. So I just rip a little bit off, and then I'm just gonna fold it over on itself a couple of times, and that should now be able to go and hide itself under the, hides itself under the ribbon, just holds it down a bit. So now I just need a glob of glue, and I'm going to put it over where I've just stuck the tape, which is there. Put a glob of glue, and I'm going to stick the bow on there. And that looks dead cute. How adorable is that? Love it. Okay, so I'm now going to stick this directly onto here. You can mat and layer this one as well. I just decided not to this time, just because I've already got the embellishment going on, and I didn't want to totally take away from the image. And I think having it on the green background is just going to make it pop. So I'm going to stick this down. And the question is, am I going to raise it slightly? No, I think I'm just going to glue it straight on. So let's make sure we've got loads of glue going on here. It's already got the double-sided as well. Let's put some over the ribbon, make sure it definitely sticks. Just using the noddle to spread it out to the corners without adding more glue on, just to make sure it's going to stick. Okay, and again, I do want a border on this, so I'm just going to eyeball it really and see how we go. I'm not going to push it down too soon because I have got the double-sided tape on there as well. Fairly happy with that. Maybe just come up a little tad. Yeah, that will do. Okay. So this piece is now going to go on to hold everything in place, just like that. Okay. So what I need to do is need to make sure that the bottom panel that's loose lines up with the bottom of the card and the edge of the card before you start thinking about sticking your topper. Okay, that's fine because that's not going anywhere. And then you just want to add a little bit of glue. You can either do it directly on the back of the topper, or you can put it on the panels themselves. I just want to give this a little bit longer to set itself. But you just got to be careful where you put your glue, because obviously you're not using the whole of the back. So if you're gluing for the bottom, you would just put a small amount along the bottom, but be careful. And then for the top, a small amount at the top. But just be careful that you don't go too far, because you don't want to stick this to the card base. So I think I might actually glue, I will glue onto here. So I'm just going to put some on here, but I'm not going too far down because only the edge of the card is going to catch, and the same down here. So I just want a small amount, but I want enough that it's going to hold. Okay, that should just about do it. Okay, now let's make sure this is flush and not going anywhere. So I will probably stick to the bottom first and then come in and get the top. Hold that down, line it up against the edges. So line the top up against the edge of the card and then just hold it in place so that it seals and attaches itself to the panels, because that top is what's holding everything together. But it's just such a nice card. So cute, so quick to do once you've got the hang of them, and they're just adorable. I love them. Okay, so there you go. Right, now we are going to need to put the sentiment inside. Now normally you put the sentiment peeking through here, but because I made a slightly bigger topper, I don't think it's going to completely show. But we can grab one out, or we could just go for a smaller one really. There's actually a Merry Christmas that's the right colour to match my papers. See, that one there would match. Let's try that one. And that might well. So we're going about here. So I'm going to open up the card, holding that roughly where I want it. I still want a small border here on the side, but oh look, there you go, that works really nicely. You can see the sentiment, it's going to lift up. You've got all this room here to write your message. Gorgeous. Now, do I want to add any of these? I might add a couple of the small ones just to see, because the backing paper is snowflakes, and I think they'll just pop really if I put a couple of the small ones on. Just give it just a little something. I'll put one there. Yeah, that's really cute. Put one down the bottom. And they're self-adhesive, these as well, so they just stick. You don't have to do anything. They're brilliant. Oh, I really like these. I'm glad I've got these now. And we'll have another one. You're supposed to work in uneven numbers. I think I like that over there actually. Yeah, that's really cute. Just gives it a little bit of extra interest. So that is pretty much done now. That is a split panel card. I really hope you've liked it. If you have enjoyed watching today's video, if you could please give me a thumbs up, that'd be much appreciated. If you would like to see more videos, if you subscribe to my channel, that'd be fabulous. And if you hit the bell, it will give you a notification every time I upload a video, and I try and do at least one a week. So that was my split panel fold card. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you come back soon. Thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.